The sun sank below the horizon, painting the vast Texas plains in shades of crimson. A gentle breeze carried the scent of dry grass and dust. Astride his black horse, Shadow Caleb Stone rode in silence, his sharp eyes scanning the landscape. At 40, Caleb was a lone cowboy, drifting from town to town, carrying a heavy past like an unshakable shadow. Tucked in his saddlebag was a crumpled letter from a woman he never thought he'd hear from again, Emma, his wife. The words were brief but cut like a knife. "Caleb, our son Jack is in trouble. He needs his father. Come to Blackwater." Jack, the name stopped Caleb cold. It had been 10 years since he left Emma and their 5-year-old boy. Back then, he believed he wasn't fit to be a father or a husband. A cowboy's life was one of danger, blood debts, and gunfights. He had walked away to protect them, dead. Now the past was calling him back. Caleb spurred Shadow forward, heading for Blackwater, a small town nestled in the desert. He didn't know what awaited him, but the instincts of a seasoned cowboy told him this journey would be anything but peaceful. Blackwater came into view under a moonlit sky. Once a quiet town, it now pulsed with tension. The dirt roads were dusty, storefronts shuttered, and the townsfolk cast wary glances as Caleb rode in. He stopped at the only saloon, where dim yellow light spilled from the windows. Inside, a jumbled piano tune mixed with laughter and the clink of whiskey glasses. Caleb tied Shadow to a post, checked the revolvers at his hips, and pushed through the swinging doors. The air inside was thick with tobacco and liquor. A few men glanced his way, but Caleb's icy stare made them turn back to their drinks. He approached the bar, ordered a whiskey, and spoke to the silver-haired barkeep. "Emma Stone? She's still here?" The old man studied him. "Emma. She's at the old ranch east of town. But if you're looking for her, be careful. It's changed. Cyrus Kane's gang runs this place now. Cyrus Kane." Caleb's brow furrowed. The name was infamous, a ruthless outlaw, leading a band of bank robbers and stagecoach raiders across the West. If Jack was tangled up with him, things were worse than Caleb feared. "Yep," the barkeep said, lowering his voice. "Emma's boy, Jack, is being held hostage by Kane. He's pressuring her to hand over the ranch. If she doesn't, the kid won't make it." Caleb's grip tightened on his glass, his heart constricting. Jack, the son he hadn't seen in a decade, was in danger. He stood, tossed a coin on the counter, and left the saloon. There was no time to waste. Dawn broke as Caleb reached Emma's ranch. The old wooden house looked much as it had when he left, but now it was surrounded by Kane's men, armed and alert. From behind a cluster of trees, Caleb counted at least 6 guards. In the distance, he saw Emma on the porch, her hands clenched, her face etched with worry. Caleb slid off Shadow, drawing one of his revolvers. He wasn't a man who sought bloodshed, but for his son, he'd do whatever it took. Moving like a ghost, he used the dawn's shadows to his advantage. One guard fell silently, knocked out with a swift blow to the neck, his gun hitting the dirt without a sound. As Caleb neared the house, a boy's voice rang out. "Ma, don't give them the ranch. I ain't scared of 'em." The voice, though older now, struck Caleb like a thunderbolt. It was Jack. Bursting into action, Caleb fired both revolvers, dropping to guards before they could react. The gunfire sparked chaos, and a fierce shootout erupted. Caleb moved like lightning, dodging bullets and returning fire with deadly precision. A bullet grazed his shoulder, blood soaking his shirt, but he pressed on. "Caleb." Emma's cry cut through the noise as she spotted him. She rushed forward, trying to pull him inside, but a cold voice stopped them. "Drop the guns, Stone, or the boy dies." Caleb turned to see Cyrus Kane, one hand gripping Jack, a pistol pressed to the boy's head. Jack, now a lanky 15-year-old, stared at Caleb with a mix of fear and curiosity. He didn't know this man, but something deep inside stirred a connection he couldn't name. Caleb lowered his guns, raising his hands. "Let the boy go, Kane. This is between you and me," Kane smirked. "You think you call the shots?" I want that ranch, and if you want the kid to live, you'll help me get it. Caleb and Jack were bound and locked in a small room. First time in 10 years, Caleb was face to face with his son. Jack glared at him, suspicion in his eyes. Who are you? Why does my ma know you? Caleb hesitated, his heart aching. I'm your father, Jack. I left you and your ma a long time ago, but I'm here now, and I'm getting you out of this. Jack shook his head, his voice trembling. My father? You abandoned us? Ma told me everything. You don't deserve to be my pa. The words cut deeper than any bullet. Caleb bowed his head, unable to argue. He knew he'd been wrong, but now wasn't the time for excuses. You can hate me, Jack, but trust me, just this once. I'll get you and your ma out. Caleb scanned the room. A small window with rusted bars offered a chance. He slipped a piece of metal from his belt and began. Sawing at his ropes, Jack watched, his anger softening slightly. Despite his resentment, he sensed the determination in Caleb's voice. Once free. Yeah. Caleb whispered, Listen, Jack, I'll cause a distraction. When they're busy, you run to the stables, grab a horse, and get your ma out. Don't look back. Jack nodded, though doubt lingered. Caleb pried open the bars, making a loud crash. As expected, guards rushed in. Caleb leaped out, using the metal shard as a weapon, dropping 2 men before they could fire. The gunfire drew the others away from the house. Jack seized the moment, sprinting to find Emma. He pulled her onto a horse, and they galloped away from the ranch. But as they fled, Jack glanced back and saw Caleb surrounded by Cain's men. Against his father's orders, he stopped. Jack, go! Emma shouted, but he shook his head. I can't leave him. Bloodied and wounded, Caleb stood his ground. Holding off the gang to buy time, he knew he couldn't take them all, but as long as Jack and Emma escaped, it was enough. Cyrus Cain stepped forward, sneering, You're a stubborn one, Stone. But you die here today. Before Cain could fire, a shot rang out. One of Cain's men fell. Caleb turned, stunned, to see Jack standing with an old rifle from the stables. The boy fired again, dropping another man. Jack, run, Caleb shouted, but Jack stood firm. I ain't leaving you, Pa. The word Pa hit Caleb like a wave. He rushed to Jack's side, shielding him as they fought together. Despite his inexperience, Jack's shots were surprisingly accurate. Caleb, though weakened, moved with the precision of a man who'd faced death countless times. Soon, only Caleb, Jack, and Cain remained. Cain raised his gun, but Caleb was faster. A single shot pierced Cain's chest, and the outlaw fell. His reign over Blackwater ended. With Cain's gang scattered, Blackwater began to heal. Caleb, badly wounded, was tended by Emma at the ranch. Jack sat by his bedside, his anger replaced by curiosity and a flicker of hope. Pa, why'd you leave us? Jack asked softly. Caleb sighed, recounting his years of danger, near-death escapes, and the fear that he'd bring ruin to his family. I thought leaving was the only way to keep you safe. But I was wrong, Jack. I missed your whole life. Jack was quiet, then took his father's hand. I don't know if I can forgive you yet, but I want to try. I want a Pa. Caleb smiled, tears streaking his weathered face. I'll spend the rest of my days making it up to you, Jack. By the next spring, Emma's ranch bloomed with life. Caleb stayed, no longer a wandering cowboy. He taught Jack to ride, shoot, and, most importantly, to be a good man. Emma, still guarded, softened toward Caleb. They didn't rekindle their marriage, but they built a family bound by love and understanding. One afternoon, Caleb and Jack rode across the plains, watching the sunset. Jack turned to his father, smiling. I'm glad you came back, Pa. Caleb looked at his son, his heart full. So am I, Jack. So am I, under the fiery sunset. Father and son rode on, not just across the plains, but on a journey to rebuild the bond they'd lost.